Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sufran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
So hi everyone, and welcome to the Personal Brand Business Plan session. Okay, so if you see that I'm energized, I just came off a recent live on the annual planning session, and this essentially is part 2 to it, right? Because just to take a step back, every year I have an annual planning session with my community where I share them how I map out my entire year, and we are at the end of this year and we're preparing for next year. And part of that is a 3-part approach where I first map out my life plan, so my internal life schedules, routines, and protocols. Part 2 is my personal brand. I believe every single person on this planet who is a professional who wants to have a career of success should have a personal brand business plan, right? How are you going to build and grow your personal brand, your reputation, and monetize it over time? And part 3 to that is the business venture portfolio plan. Many of you know that I'm a serial entrepreneur with multiple businesses. For those of you who are single-time founders, of course, you could do that for your business enterprise. But the point is, it's a 3-arm approach. 1, my life. 2, my personal brand. 3, my business ventures. That's how I map out my entire year. So the first one was very comprehensive. This one's going to be short and sweet because I have a full workshop experience on how to really go in depth for this, because I find that a lot of people, as you should, find their personal brand to be very unique and customized. But this is a really great framework to help you map out the year in a way that's very intentional and very, very strategic. So to take a step back, my name is Christine and Tim. I am a serial entrepreneur, global speaker, tech activist, and of course, probably the titles that matter to me most is being a wife, a mother of 5 beautiful children, and a woman who is on a mission to help entrepreneurs build and grow their personal brands and businesses online. So with that said, here we are talking about how do you create a business plan around your personal brand. I remember the first time I went live with this conversation, I got a lot of DMs. Okay. A lot of people just said like, hey, like I never thought about mapping out a business or a full career life strategy around my personal brand. I'm like, yeah, you should. Right. And obviously, they saw why in the end, because a lot of people believe they should have a personal brand. But a lot of times I see people build their personal brand a little bit sporadically. Oh, I just want visibility. I want to speak at this event, or I just want to network. There's no comprehensive or cohesive strategy that not only connects day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter, not even year to year. And so this conversation will help you really rethink how you approach career planning in general. How do you approach managing and scaling your reputation in the digital age, and manage how you also monetize with integrity? Because there's a huge, let's call the elephant in the room, there's a huge amount of distrust right now online and offline around people who actively try to monetize their personal brand. Let's just get to the point. And it's unfortunate because now more than ever, because of AI and because of the exponential rate of colliding technologies that are displacing people around the world, across economies, across industries, across job functions, now more than ever, at the height of this distrust that we have as a society when it comes to people who are active about their personal brands, you need to have it. It's no longer an optional thing. Like, if you do not have a strong reputation in this market, you close yourself off to revenue opportunities, career opportunities, just life opportunities in general. Okay. So this conversation, for those of you who came on thinking like, oh, I think I should have this conversation, I hope you leave understanding that no, you needed to have this conversation like yesterday, but luckily you're having it today. Okay. So with that said, let's just dive in. So essentially, the personal brand business plan was really born on me thinking about how do I create a high impact masterclass for founders to help them win in any economy. Because right now we all know the economy sucks. Despite what they're saying, the economy sucks, right? Trust is at an all-time low. Things have changed, right? And budgets are shifting around the world. So how do you rise in a disruptive time with AI, right? So the business climate has shifted. We've seen that, so much is happening right now. So the only sustainable competitive advantage that you will have to operate in today's marketplace is having a strong personal brand. That's very clear. And many of you join this masterclass because you are aware of that. You get that. Okay. So this conversation is meant to help entrepreneurs manage both their business and personal brand simultaneously, help them map out a clear strategy for their personal brand, and look at how to actually optimize and structure it into the new year. Okay. Now, I want to share that usually part of the reason why it's so hard for people to map out an entire year of personal branding strategy is because there's so many different challenges that they're facing with their personal brand. They don't even know where to begin. Now, I talk about this ad nauseum, some of the challenges that I've seen clients face before they come to me. And they range from, I'm lost, I don't even know where to begin with my personal brand. And I respond like, you just need to find purpose, right? You need to define what you want your personal brand to stand for. That requires a clarity experience, right? Some of you are like, look, I know what I stand for. I'm just tired of the BS. I want to know how to actually make money with my expertise. Because so many gurus talk about how to monetize your brand, but don't really strategically show you how to do it, right? So you need to learn how to launch your first product to monetize your brand. You need to learn how to package your expertise to the world, right? Some of you are like, look, I've monetized before. It's not consistent. You need a playbook, right? So if you think about any challenge that you're having along the spectrum of the journey of creating, building, monetizing, and scaling a personal brand, we're all at different stages of our lives and our career when it comes to that. There's always a solution. Okay? There's always a solution. And for me, in my experience of coaching part-time over the past 2 years, when I address the elephant in the room for people and address where their challenges are, they have clarity on how to actually execute and solve on it. A lot of you are just too scatterbrained. You don't know what challenge you want to tackle when it comes to your personal brand, which is why you're not seeing traction. Okay. So we make sure to identify the core problem that you have right now and start working our way up. Right. And the reason why this is important is because I've said this before, but I don't think people realize that you need certain skills in order to build a personal brand effectively. There's a reason why certain people find it innately easier to build their personal brand. Some people need to work a little bit harder for it, but it's something that can be learned. The skills that you need to build, scale, and monetize your personal brand can be learned. And there are 5 key skills that you need to be able to build your personal brand effectively. One, you need presentation skills. You need to have verbal mastery of communication. Okay. What I'm doing right now is personal branding 101. Me being able to present and showcase clear mastery of expertise is part 1. Okay. Some of you have expertise, but you have not mastered explaining it, dictating it, sharing it, packaging it for others, which is why you will never be able to monetize it if you have not packaged it in a way for people to be able to digest what's in your head to be able to take action on it. Okay. So presentation skills is a must. The second skill that you need is publishing skills. You need to be able to communicate in a written form that communicates thought leadership, articles, blogs, media, podcasting, right? Publishing. The third one, which I find very hard for a lot of people, but for entrepreneurs, not so much, because entrepreneurs are bred to be able to do this on a regular basis for their business, is pitching. You need to be able to market and sell your value through strong storytelling and positioning. I can't stress this enough. If you're not able to pitch yourself properly, you're not going to get the brand deals. You're not going to get the speaking engagements. You're not going to be able to. And when I say pitching, it's not like you going out and pitching a million people. It's you position yourself online to be even approachable for these opportunities so they can come inbound as well, right? So pitching is a crucial skill, okay? The fourth one is project management. Obviously, you need to be able to manage multiple journeys and seasons in your brand. Like I always tell people, what season of your personal brand are you in? Are you in an experimentation phase? An example of this is like, are you about to launch a podcast for the first time? Or are you in a growth phase? Oh, you've been having this coaching business. Do you want to turn it into a course and scale it? What's your process? What's your marketing plan for that? Right? We all have seasonality in our business. So that's when you have to have strong project management skills. And then as you start to expand your personal brand where you're working with different entities. So for me, I have brand deals. I have speaking engagements. I have partnership contracts. And I also have my own personal brand products and services that I offer. Now it becomes portfolio management. Which part of my portfolio is gaining the most gains? Is it in my speaking engagements? Is it my courses? Is it my coaching? Now I'm managing a whole portfolio of packaged expertise products that's born from my likeness that is making me successful in my career, but also financially secure, right? So 5 skills are required to really build, grow, and monetize your personal brand: presentation, publishing, pitching, project management, and portfolio management. Okay, 5 skills. So you feel like you've been hard on this. I'm not saying go take a class in each one of those 5 skills. I'm saying now that you're aware that you have to start doing those webinars so you can practice presentations. You need to start pitching yourself to new audiences so you can practice pitching. Once you're aware of the skills that you need, you start to execute on those skills a little bit more because you realize there's a purpose to learning and acquiring that skills. And one thing I would say, as someone who teaches adults how to live their best life, right? I recognize that we are at an age as adults where we need to have a reason to learn something. Learning for the sake of learning is no longer as exciting as it once was when we were children, right? So if you know why it's important to have those 5 skills, you will flex that skill a lot more and practice it a lot more, okay? So those are the 5 skills. Now, let's get into personal brand management, okay? The routine that I kick off, right? First and foremost, and let me just see if I could scale that to show you my notes on this really quickly. These are the 5 skills, by the way, that we just talked about just now, okay? A lot of words here, but just hear me out. The first thing you need to look at when it comes to your personal brand, this is the reason why I do the life plan first before my personal brand, is because a lot of reasons why we're not succeeding in our personal brand and business life is because we have not dealt with our life issues or life structure or life routines. And that's just very clear. Okay. So what happens is, like, you know, every time you try to launch a project, maybe trying to launch a YouTube channel, maybe you're trying to post more, life is just getting into the way. You ever, like, people say that all the time, life is just getting in the way. It's not getting in the way. You have not created a path for your life to flourish so that way you could execute properly, systematically with your personal brand goals and your business goals. I'm not saying this from a point of judgment. I'm saying this from a point of literally empathy because I've been there before. Okay. So what you want to do is really take a moment to reflect on your typical day routine, organize your life first, and then say, okay, how much time can I dedicate towards purposely, strategically, like unapologetically working on my personal brand? Is it 1 hour a week? Is it 2 hours a week? 3? A whole day? What is it? Because once you are able to say, okay, into the new year, I could dedicate at least 1 hour a week to my personal brand. Boom, we got a game plan. Because now you've created space for personal brand management and growth. So if you say you could do 1 hour, so okay, in that 1 hour per week, what are you going to do? Are you going to create an email list? Are you going to launch a course? Are you going to do webinars? Like, you dictate even the seasonality. Maybe Q1 you do this, maybe Q2 you do this, maybe Q3 you do this. So you can rotate experiments and execution. But the point is, you are dedicating time to this now. So now you're able to fulfill the needs of that personal brand growth strategy. Okay. So with that said, think about your ideal personal brand daily routine based on that time frame. So for me, I look at, okay, first thing I do is log into my dashboard, my CRM, where I have my email list of clients, but also my newsletter followers. And how do I create conversations with that group to not only empower them, but also monetize that expertise that I'm giving off on a regular basis, right? So I look at, maybe I take 5 minutes to scan my emails, 5 minutes to, look at my dashboard, maybe 20 minutes for content writing to respond and create those conversations, schedule things out, maybe another 30 minutes to do a weekly live, so on and so forth. Every hour I have my structure. Okay. And when I look at that, then I think, okay, like, what tools do I need to make me successful in this? So I always tell people, I first started building my personal brand on a Word document. Then I moved to a spreadsheet. Then I started using tech tools. Now, obviously, you don't have to move through that. But what I'm trying to say is, you don't need what you think you need to build, scale, and monetize your personal brand. Stop overthinking it, right? I will say, in today's digital age, do get a CRM, because the core asset of any personal brand is an email list. I'm going to say that again. The core asset for me to say that you are ready to monetize your personal brand is having an email list. And a lot of people regret not starting sooner because they think that they need to know what to say before they start. And quite frankly, you just need to start. Okay. So with that said, CRM is very crucial. And there's a lot of CRMs that can start you for free for under 2,500 contacts. Okay. So there's no excuse to do this. All right. So what tools do you need to be successful with that personal brand? Once you think of those tools, then, okay, let's look at the calendar. So you say you want to dedicate 1 hour, 3 hours a week to your personal brand. We look at the first quarter. Well, what do you want to do in 90 days with that time? So for me, every year I look at, what do I want to keep going with my personal brand? What do I want to add to the portfolio? And what do I want to maybe experiment with, right? So I always have what I call the bread and butter of my personal brand. So my email list is the bread and butter of my personal brand. That's where I announce once or twice a year my coaching services. I have clients who literally want to come to me just because of my expertise and want coaching from me, and they come and do my 4-week programs, my 5-week programs, my 2-week workshops, my 1-hour workshops. Like, that is a clientele of people that I build, right? So that's my bread and butter under my personal brand bucket. So clearly I will keep that going unless I see otherwise. A second thing is, like, maybe I want to do more speaking engagements. Now, I have scaled back on speaking engagements over the years and charge a higher premium. That was by design. When I first got into the speaking industry, I was speaking at hundreds of conferences, but again, it's much. Now I can hit 5 figures and above. So you look at what are the key stakeholders. I always say key fundamentals that's already working in your personal brand. Now, for those of you who've never done much with it, maybe you don't have this to look at. But for me, who've been doing it for several years, and many of you, even if you feel like it's disorganized, there's some key staples in your personal brand that you should keep going. Maybe you just need to optimize it, perfect it, restructure it. But the point is, keep it going. So I might say Q1, I'm just focusing on optimizing it for the first 90 days before launching a new project. And then Q2, I will launch a podcast, or I will launch a YouTube channel. I will launch a newsletter. 90 days. You already said that you're dedicating 1 hour a week. So what are you going to do with that time? Q3, optimize the podcast. Q4, maybe have a whole structure, a whole marketing campaign for the first time. But the point is, you begin where you need to begin. You start where you need to start. I think a lot of people, when they want to start their personal brand, they want to do everything that someone else that they see in their peer group doing today, and not thinking strategically, like, no, where am I at in my personal brand journey? And I have a timeline that I show people where, Here's a timeline of a personal brand. Every personal brand has seasons. And are you in the right season to launch this project? Are you in the right season to take a step back? Are you in the right season to actually reflect, reset, right? You need to do things in your own time plan so that way you can actually accelerate your chances of success because you're doing things on your time, your way. Okay? Follow your own playbook. All right? So those are the core things that we do, right? Now, with that said, once you have that layout out, then you start to think, okay, how do I want to map out the whole year? So I'm going to share with you the script plan that I share with clients. You can have that today for free, just so you can see the 5-part process that we use as a playbook to help someone map out their personal brand. Prior to that, we have a brand launch where we say, okay, when do I want to announce to the world that I'm doing this? Okay. It could be a personal accountability goal day. It could be something that you do live on social. But the point is, like, when do I want to set my intention to the world that I'm actually going to be very targeted, strategic, and intentional about my personal brand strategy? Okay. Once you have gained clarity around that, the first thing you want to do is identify a problem that your expertise could solve. A lot of you have different expertise, but that doesn't mean you want to use that expertise for everything under the sun. So, for example, I have expertise in speaker management. I have expertise in event management. I have expertise in business development. I have expertise in personal branding, right? But that doesn't mean I want to monetize all these different expertise categories, right? So you select the problem that you want to solve and map out who do you believe in your community is constantly looking for those solutions, okay? Then number 2, you start to position your personal brand as such. You start thinking of like, how do I want to have conversations? That we have a module in my personal brand accelerator program where we talk about stop looking at content on the internet as content, look at it as conversations. So what conversations do you want to have? It will shape how you post on social media when you have that mindset shift, okay? Number 3 is productization. This is very important. You cannot monetize your brand until you package it. And a lot of times people think packaging is just a course. Sometimes packaging is a consulting session, a coaching session, a one-on-one session, a retreat, a conference. There's so many ways to get people to get to the heart of the expertise, which is you, right? So how do you productize and monetize your personal brand? Once these 3 cores are done, only when these 3 things are done, then you start really thinking about how to scale your personal brand. That's the operational things of getting a real dashboard, optimizing your time, doing project management, portfolio management, revisions, right? And then sustaining your personal brand with a live launch model. This is a model that we teach in the Personal Brand Academy program, where we teach people how to actually sell en masse on a regular basis. This is something that has scaled my personal brand from a 5-figure brand when I first got started all the way to a 6-figure brand to now near 7 figures. So it's been a really crazy journey scaling my personal brand as rapidly as I did by learning that structure. But it's a sustainable business plan. When I teach my clients, they're able to rinse and repeat, and grow. Okay. So with that said, to map out the entire year requires you looking at, okay, if these are the 5 areas I want to leverage to do that, again, going back to the calendar year, which ones do I want to focus on first? So a lot of times what I find is I've had people, 90 days is such a powerful time frame, so much can happen, where they dedicate 1 quarter for each one of these sections. So again, it's 5 sections, but a lot of times we say, look, this year I'll focus on 1 per section. Okay. So Q1, they focus on identifying the problems in the market that they want to solve. Q2, they start to really get out there and positioning themselves. Apologies. Q3, they start to say, okay, I'm going to start monetizing my brand and putting myself out there, right? So you start to see this pattern of them really pacing themselves or putting themselves out there. And in the Personal Brand Academy, we help you not only optimize that time and maybe make it a little bit shorter because we're giving you the blueprint and giving you the execution tools to do it, but more importantly, showing you how to pivot and adjust as you go along. All right. So that's essentially it. Then once you do that, you just rinse and repeat and you optimize again. Now, this personal brand business plan strategy is really looking at your personal brand from a strategic standpoint of like, okay, what do I want to be known for right now? Because I know it can evolve over time. And how do I get that to the hands of others? Is it through lives? Is it through coaching? Is it through consulting? And by the way, you go do all of this privately without even leveraging social media. I got my personal brand to 6 figures without posting on social media, by the way. Okay. Social media just became a conversation where I just went live to engage, but the selling and the conversion really happened through my email list and through my DMs, right? So you don't have to be public about this whole process if you don't want to be. I find a lot of people get overwhelmed, right? And get really frustrated with having to create a real roadmap for their personal brand. And I just see a question. Someone said, "Are you going to share this document after 11?" Sure, if you want me to, I could do that. Okay, Kathleen, I'll do that. So if you guys want to agree with her and want it, just comment and then I'll DM it to you. Okay, no problem. All right. So this is literally the blueprint for the entire year. That once you rinse and repeat, and again, once your framework becomes boring, that's when you know you got an execution plan, because now you have a focused way of doing something over and over and over and getting very predictable results, especially with your personal brand. I'll conclude this conversation by saying this is just the tip of the iceberg. I know this is a lot to process, but there are 3 takeaways I want you to take from today. One is that your personal brand is probably the most strategic and most important asset that you need to cultivate and strategize and create a playbook for into 2026. There will be no option to avoid this 2026 and beyond. With the rise of technology and everything that's happening right now, guys, like, there are estimates that if you don't get your ish together by 2027, you're probably going to be in a permanent state of where you're at right now. If you are in a state right now where you don't like your financial positioning, you don't like your life existence right now, you don't like where you are in your career, you might be in a permanent state if you don't get your ish together by 2027. Now, I'm not fear-mongering. I'm not saying this to scare anyone. I'm not saying this to sell out something. I'm really not. These are conversations I'm having internally with my husband, my family, my business clients, literally corporates are having these conversations. That's the reason why everything is going so crazy right now, where you see so many shifts that happen at the same time. So I'm saying this because, please, this is no longer an optional conversation, okay? You need to be on top of how your reputation speaks for itself online and offline right now. Because again, there are estimates that are saying by 2027, if you do not get your house in order, your current position might become permanent. If you like where you are right now, then you're great. But if you still want room to grow, you want to accelerate, you want to put yourself in a breakthrough year, work on your personal brand. It is the single most asset that you will have to be able to sustain multiple businesses, to sustain multiple projects, to make introductions. Like, literally, right now, I don't engage with anyone on the planet without looking them up first. I don't care if they're a child. I won't look up their parents. Then I'm like, okay, we can deal with the child, right? That's the world we're living in. And if your reputation doesn't speak properly about you online, guess what? But the technology where things are heading, it's not going to be an easy one for you, okay? So that's the first thing I want you to take away. Step 2, from henceforth, I want no one to think that they could just work on their personal brand sporadically. That ends today. You can create a personal brand business plan. The same way you see these MBA graduates, these corporate CEOs, they have a roadmap and a business plan for major corporations. Guys, you are a corporation. Your reputation is a corporation. You are an entity. You are an entity. You are a person that has value. And that value needs to be structured and honed. And let me tell you this. One of the best parts about building a personal brand on purpose in public, professionally, you're forced to hone in on your craft. I got better at speaking publicly. I got better at coaching. I got better at mentoring. I got better at just doing so many different organizational things because I'm in the position of coaching and monetizing my expertise. I got better at the things that I was already good at. Go figure. So you are also not only giving your talent to the world in a way that's sustainable, professional, efficient, but you're also growing yourself. You're growing your talent. And let me tell you this, you're growing your confidence. Because when you're good at something and you're showing up, on a regular basis, giving the goods of what you do very well, it feels good. I'm going to say that again. When you have the opportunity to keep showing up with the talents and expertise that comes easy to you and providing that to the world on a regular basis, it feels so good. Okay? So that's number 2. You got to put it out there properly with a business plan. And number 3, and this is more towards the conversation I had earlier with the annual planning meeting. Guys, we can't, I'm getting a little bit annoyed now because we just can't keep saying we don't have time to create the life that we want anymore. You just can't do it. Time management is key. We're all human beings, and I understand that maybe you need accountability. This is the reason why I coach. This is the reason why I provide workshops. This is the reason why I provide the content I provide. But the reality is you do need to make time to meet the future self that you've always wanted to create. You need to work towards it. 2026 got to be a year of no excuses, guys. We got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it. I've seen so many people just blow up from frustration, fatigue, sadness, anxiety, depression, all of the above, because they're not tapping into the beauty that God has given them. And this conversation with personal brand business planning, great. It sounds great. So, okay, I can finally monetize my personal brand. I can finally figure out what's her strategy with getting a roadmap of expertise out there. That's great. But underlying all that monetization, scale, and efficiency is me trying to get to the root cause of letting you know that you are literally telling the universe that I want to show up for myself properly on purpose. Okay? And you got to make time for that. And so I'll conclude by saying again that this conversation, I hope going forward, you look at your personal brand as an entity that deserves and warrants a business plan. You need to be able to map out how you're going to create an audience from scratch. You don't like it? Figure it out. You can figure it out with my programs. You can figure it out with my lives. But the point is, you got to figure it out. How do you maintain that audience? How do you nurture that audience? How do you scale that audience? And throughout that entire journey, sustain it financially so you could be able to leverage that capital to create multiple legacies under your brand, right? And so if you found this was useful, definitely make a comment. I saw some of you guys are asking for the Word document. I look forward to sending it to you guys via DMs, right? But the point is, have a business plan for your personal brand. Take it very seriously. Go out there with strategic sense. Because when you have a business plan, like the way I mapped it out here, the 5 parts, what is your purpose? What is your positioning? What is your product, right? What is your process to get out there? Once you have that laid out, it's so much easier. It's funny, when you're in alignment and purpose driven around what you want, the universe starts to speak back to you and start to give you what you've been wanting. And let me tell you this, don't rush through this. This is something that you can do by pacing yourself, right? And speaking of pace, I'm sure many of you have heard that for the first time, I'm opening up to 10 spots for one-on-one coaching into the new year. Okay? Never done it before. Usually I have my part-time, you guys know I'm a serial entrepreneur with multiple business ventures, right? But my personal brand coaching, I usually do once or twice a year. For the first time, for the first 30 days of January, I'm working with people one-on-one where I will meet with them on a weekly basis to help them execute on their personal brand goals. Okay? During my last sessions, we already halfway there. So I'm glad and really shocked. So that tells me that, yes, it was something that you guys really wanted, right? But the point is, I am now showing up in a private coaching capacity for the first time for up to 10 people next year, where you will kick off 2026 with me being your accountability partner to help you execute on this. Now, I'm sharing that on the live as well, so you guys can feel free to sign up for access to that, okay? But the point is, why am I doing this? One, what I realize is that discipline and desire are not the reasons why people fail to execute on their personal brand goals. Really, it's a time management and accountability thing. And I recognize that if I help in some type of way where and again, it doesn't have to be me, right? But if you have an accountability partner to show you not only the frameworks to execute on this, but also walk you through doing it, I've seen so many people find it easier to execute, right? And what will these one-on-one looks like? So these one-on-ones will look at, first off, what is your goals for the year? That's why I want to do it in January. I realize that, sometimes when a lot of my programs are once or twice a year, and they usually happen in the spring. But by then, you're already 90, 120 days into the year on habits that you're already just a little bit defeated about. By kicking off the year in January, one-on-one with an accountability mentor to walk you through that process, you're able to say, oh, I have someone privately working with me, customizing these conversations based on my needs and my goals and my desires. Here's the thing. If you have been trying to work on your personal brand for years now and you have not figured out what is the tipping point that you need to break through to finally get it all to work, to click. So your website, your social media, your email list, if you don't have one, how to create a product, how to launch, how to consult. If it's just not clicking, this is a great opportunity for you, because sometimes you need someone to consistently work and help you map out and flesh out the things that are blocking you. Obviously, not just with frameworks, but also with real conversations, private conversations to help you show up properly, publicly into 2026. I stated before, this is no longer an optional thing. This is a requirement. If you want to stand out, more importantly, if you want to at least be relevant, your personal brand is going to be the root core thing that you're going to need to really work on, right? And so with that said, I hope that you found this conversation useful, right? First and foremost, having this blueprint, having this conversation that you need to have yesterday, but you're having it today, and empowering yourself to know that you made a powerful decision to be here on this live, to at least work on, put it on paper, your personal brand business plan, even if it is for the first time. Those of you who will join me for this private one-on-one coaching, we are actually going to map out your entire personal brand business plan for 2026 using this framework. I will help you map it out and customize it for yourself. So not only will you get it mapped out, but we will be helping you to execute on that. So that way, the first 90 days of the year, you're already in flow for this. That's why this is a powerful opportunity. These one-on-ones will be about 3 sessions in the month of January. You'll pick the time that works best, and we'll meet on a weekly basis to help you execute and drive traction on your personal brand business goals. So with that, I look forward to seeing many of you for that opportunity. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to comment. I would love to answer. Anyone who commented for the document, they will get a direct DM for the notes that we had from today's masterclass. And if you have any other questions, I always go back to my previous lives to answer as many questions as possible. Okay. So I'm really loving today's session. You guys have been very, very, action oriented and excited. I see. Thank you so much. Someone just DM'd me. They got in. Thank you so much. And again, make 2026 your breakthrough year by really jumping in on this and jumping in on making sure that you have a strategy for making your personal brand actually work for you for the first time, if not even better than ever in 2026 and beyond. I wish you guys all the best. Christine and Tim here. Looking forward to seeing you on the inside of the one-on-ones. Bye, everyone. To the Personal Brand Accelerator Program. We're going to talk about really the who, what, when, where, how of personal branding. Personal branding in many ways is an ongoing process, right? Because you are practicing, you're developing, you're manifesting yourself over time as you grow and develop as a person within your career. Today, we're transitioning from the personal branding fundamentals to now building your personal branding foundation, right? You can't position yourself for opportunity unless you understand your motivations and what is your capacity. Now, at the very beginning, you should always be experimenting with your brand and engaging with the world, just trying to find out, okay, what experiments do you need to run to see where you need to be? There are a million different ways to make money with your personal brand, but you either got to do what is your biggest strength right now, right? Or you do where the most resources are available. A lot of people, when they're trying to monetize their personal brand, they focus on bucket 4 and 5. Right? Where they're working with people to get speaking engagements, contracts. You're doing a lot of external activities to get that clout from the community to pay you for certain works. A lot of times people confuse marketing and sales to be the same thing, right? This is the reason why a lot of people, they have a personal brand. Let's say they got as far as they create a free or paid product like a course or a retreat or a session, and they're putting it out there. They're quote unquote marketing it, they're promoting it, they're blasting it, but they're not monetizing, they're not making money. And part of the reason why is because they did not combine their marketing strategy with their sales strategy. But I could give you all the systems all day long, but it's up to you to turn it into a routine. And that does require checklists. It does require you really having the discipline to execute on that routine. So much has happened over the past couple of weeks. You have learned so much from start to finish. The best way I can end this is by saying that, look, like a lot of people wait their entire life to try to figure this out. You have the unique opportunity where you have this content for life, right? You have this journey for life where you are now given a blueprint to constantly keep upping your brand, keep accelerating your career, keep creating value, and also creating multiple streams of income for yourself in addition to any of the fundamental work that you do.